What's up, you guys? It's Sarah at carnivore.yogi on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming back to my YouTube channel and clicking on today's video. In this video, I'm going to talk about binge eating disorder, sugar addiction, and food addiction. So before I jump into any of those topics, I want to let you guys know I am not an expert nutritionist, doctor, anything like that. I'm not telling you what to do or how to solve these problems for yourself. I'm just sharing my experience and hopefully offering some resources. So the one thing I want to emphasize before I even start talking is that the carnivore diet, the keto diet, any diet period is not going to be a cure for sugar addiction, for binge eating disorder, for any kind of eating disorder, food addiction, any of that. It can help tremendously, which I will talk about in this video. But when I see people out there on the internet saying that if you do XYZ diet, and it's not just in the carnivore community that's happening, it's all over, all kinds of diets, it really gets me upset. It really gets me triggered. And some people, you know, that maybe fall on a different place on the addiction spectrum, which I'll talk about in this video, they might go ahead and just do a certain way of eating and it might help them. But for a lot of people that I have met, and again, depending on where they fall on the addiction spectrum, you're gonna switch over to a certain way of eating, and if you don't deal with that underlying stuff, all those issues are gonna pop up and your addiction will switch over to something else, or you'll find yourself binging on meat. You'll find yourself binging on bacon and eggs. You will find that binging behavior in any way of eating. So if you're looking for, again, me to tell you, go carnivore and all these issues are gonna poof, be gone, then this is not the video for you. So I do want to offer a couple of resources before I really get going here. BetterHelp.com. I will link below this video and you can follow my link to get 10% off. They have online therapy, so you can do therapy from your phone, from your computer, you can text, you can video chat, you choose the way that you want to do it. But I think that therapy is an integral part of this healing journey. It's something that I have used for a lot of my life to deal with these addiction issues. I also want to mention Mary Roberts, who's lost over 100 pounds and kept it off for 6 years. She talks about food sobriety. I've interviewed her, as well as my friend Jessica Reynolds, who has lost 140 pounds and also kept it off for 5 years. She also talks about food sobriety, as well as the fact that she binged on bacon and eggs when she went on an Atkins diet. Both of those ladies are food recovery coaches. They run groups to help you really deal with these food addiction issues and tell you how to do carnivore or keto to optimize this. So resources before I jump into anything else. So a lot of you guys know, because I have talked about it, I have been on my own recovery journey for many, many years. I did a whole entire video that talks about my addiction story, that I've struggled with addiction from a very young age. I remember being, you know, under 10 years old and a lot of tumultuous things going on in my household and just stuffing myself with mashed potatoes, just stuffing myself down to the point where I was throwing up. And mashed potatoes are, you know, real food. There was no sugar or anything added to it. They weren't the flakes. It was the real thing. And I just used that food. It was warm and soothing and comforting to deal with everything that was going on around me that I just truly did not understand. So it was like very young in my life, food was my friend. Food was reliable. Food was always there for me. It didn't leave me. It didn't talk back to me. It didn't disappoint me. So I've had this ongoing relationship with food. And when I lost 100 pounds for the third time, which is also mentioned in that addiction recovery video that I did, I was determined not to abuse food again. I just didn't want to have to lose that amount of weight again. I've kept that weight off for the most part for the last 12 years, but that's when my addiction to alcohol came up and pharmaceuticals came up. So this is why I really want to do this video, because if you don't deal with the underlying issues, then that addiction behavior is going to come out in some other way. So perhaps you go on the carnivore diet and you're just nose to the grindstone, you're really, really dedicated to it, you're really dedicated to keto or whatever way of eating that you choose. I'll talk a little bit more in a second about the benefits of a carnivore diet as far as nourishment goes and how that can help. But say that you do that and something really difficult happens in your life. A couple of things I've seen happen. Number one, people eating 5 pounds of meat per day. And I've heard people in the carnivore community say, when you switch over carnivore, just eat as much meat as you want until you're comfortably stuffed or totally stuffed, and just keep doing that and that's gonna help you, right? And while I do think it's better than eating 5 pounds of cake, I think you're still replacing a binge eating behavior with a binge eating behavior, and you're not really getting below the surface to help with anything. So I think that that is not a helpful tool, that you need to learn how to eat healthy portions and deal with those emotions underneath the surface. So what I see, number one, is people switching over and they will either binge on meat or binge on some carnivore foods or keto foods, or the addiction switches over like it did with me from alcohol back to food. Food was my original addiction. And then I really had to struggle once I got sober this last time. It was 4 years ago now. I mentioned I have been in recovery for 11 years. Relapse is part of recovery. I don't see a lot of people that decide to be food sober or sober from chemicals that just get it on the first try, that it's easy. You're gonna relapse, it's part of that recovery process. But the last time that, and I almost have 4 years away from alcohol, I gained 30 pounds. When I came back into recovery, I gained 30 pounds because there was that alcohol had been my solution to all my feelings, happiness, sadness, whatever. I was very addicted to it. I did have to have help to quit. And there are some people who can quit without help. Again, it's where you fall on that addiction spectrum. I can't tell you where you fall. And here's the other thing about addiction. It's the only disease I've ever heard of that tries to trick you and tell you that you don't have it, right? You can have the cake, you can moderate the ice cream, you can moderate the wine, you can moderate this, that. It's trying to trick you all the time. So that's another reason for the relapse. But what I see a lot is people coming to carnivore keto and hoping to solve this stuff and then binging on whatever foods they're on, or go on Amazon and buying everything. Your addiction will find a way to switch over if you don't deal with what's going on underneath the surface, which is why I recommend BetterHelp or Mary or Jessica to help you guys deal with these underlying issues, because if you don't, then your addiction will switch to something else. You might find yourself, again, buying everything on Amazon, or having affairs, or gambling. I see this all the time in recovery. So, okay, that's that little spiel. Let's talk a little bit about carnivore and, maybe even a keto diet. I'm a carnivore person, and how getting those nutrients can help to calm your brain down and calm down the inflammation. So I think there is a component of addiction where you have brain inflammation, you have gut inflammation, which both of them are tied together. And going on a carnivore diet, taking out a lot of those foods and things that inflame your gut and your brain, will absolutely calm things down, will absolutely help take the edge off, and also not putting those addictive substances in your body. This is one thing I've learned with not drinking alcohol. As long as I don't put it in my body, I'm not gonna go on a bender. If I just don't start it, it's not gonna turn into a runaway train in which I'm strapping myself on the back of it and don't know when that thing's gonna stop. Food's the same way for me. If and this is why I've talked about this before in other videos, I don't do carb ups, I don't do quote unquote cheat days or free days. I don't, I just don't, I'm not interested in that, because I know as someone who has addiction problems that my body reacts differently to sugar perhaps than other people. My body reacts differently to processed foods perhaps than other people. There's an addictive thing that pops up in my brain where I just want more and more and more. So it's easier for me to stay sober than to get sober. And that's another thing I hear a lot. It's easier just to stay stopped than to try to stop, than to go through the withdrawals, and to go through all of that stuff. Now, the other thing about a carnivore diet, I see that doing a high-fat version, which is what I do, can be tremendously helpful in getting those sugar cravings to go away, feeling satiated, feeling nourished, and also providing all that fat to your brain to really give it that soothed, fed feeling so that you're not out there on the hunt for more and more and more. The other thing that I also want to talk about a little bit is fasting. I don't believe that if you have a history of binge eating disorder or addiction that you should jump right into fasting. Now, I know that Mary Roberts and Jessica, they both do fast now, but I know that they probably took a while before they started to jump right into that and dealt with those underlying issues. For me, where I'm at in my journey, for various reasons, I do not do any fasting because I can find it to be extremely triggering. And I see a lot of people that do a carnivore or a keto diet and they just want to, and this is what I did, not a good idea. They want to lose weight, or they want to get these benefits of fasting, or they want to do it right. And there's so much preaching going around that if you're not fasting, you're not doing carnivore right, you're not doing keto right, and it's part of the deal. Well, I'm here to tell you guys it's not part of the deal. You can eat these foods, you can eat this way and do absolutely zero fasting and get amazing benefits. Get that, you know, you don't have that sugar, you don't have the processed foods in your body, your brain and your gut are both calm, you are nourished, you're getting those bioavailable nutrients from your foods, so you're not out there on the hunt for more and more foods. That's the problem that I had with the standard American diet, or even a diet with a lot of plants and just a little bit of meat. My body was never absorbing those nutrients. My body was not getting what it needed. My brain wasn't getting what it needed, so it was constantly kind of searching out there on alert. So I hope that this was helpful, you guys. This is my second time recording this video because I just wanted to make sure I said the right things, and I don't want to offer false hope. It really triggers me when I see people out there saying, go carnivore, go keto, or XYZ diet, and you're no longer going to suffer with sugar addiction, food addiction, binge eating disorder, anorexia, eating disorders. That really irritates me, because if someone has these things, they have an addiction problem, and you can take the food away or change the food and they're still going to have an addiction problem. You have to deal with the root cause of what is causing you to overeat. Yes, being properly nourished will help. Yes, not fasting or restricting will help. But at the end of the day, you have to deal with what is causing you to eat, what is causing you to go out of control. And for some people, it can be as simple as being malnourished. Maybe they're not on the addiction spectrum, but anyway, at this point I'm rambling on, I'm talking too much, and I just wanted this to be a quick video to tell you guys how I have dealt with binge eating disorder, sugar addiction, and food addiction, and hope that it helps you in some way. So thank you guys for watching. If there's a video or another topic that you would like me to discuss, please put it below this video, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.